Hey guys, it's Comic Quiz. Today I'm going to be reviewing X-Men, All New X-Men issue 7. So in this issue, we get to see more of the young Scott again. He's in New York City and he goes to a bank. He's looking for a safety deposit box that he left there years ago, but he's still not sure if it's been touched yet because of his older stuff might have, used it for whatever. So then there's this lady that's working there that decides to help him. So they're talking for a bit, asking, "Are you the same guy that we see on TV?" Then he's like, "Yeah, it's hard to explain really." Then she talked about how she'd love to be a mutant, stuff like that. Just how she doesn't like her life, that it's boring, just same old, same old. So then, after she locates the safety deposit box, she leaves Scott to look through it. There he finds a pair of glasses which he uses because he's been wearing his mask all this time just to protect his eyes. And then he gets some money from it, but he also finds something in an envelope that we don't get to see what's in it at first. So then all of a sudden Wolverine arrives. So then he tries to drag Cyclops back to the school, but one of the workers that was at the bank notices that he's Cyclops and mistakes him for his older self, and so alerts the security guard to try to stop Wolverine and Cyclops at first. But since Wolverine's a member of the Avengers, he talks them down out of it and pretty much threatening them to really. So when they get out of the bank, Wolverine starts speaking to Scott in a very weird way. Then Scott's confused at first, but then when they're out of sight, Wolverine reveals that it's not actually Wolverine, but actually Mystique. And if you read the previous issue, remember that Mystique found out that Scott from the past came back to the present and has some kind of hidden agenda which we don't know yet, but involves Scott. So they're talking pretty much. Scott's getting to know her. She explains that how she hasn't been the best person, that she's had difficult times and she hasn't been dealing with it well, that she pretty much took it out on the world as well. But she's also a friend of Xavier's, how he respected him, and also respected him pretty much what he tried to do for mutant kind. So then Scott starts to confide in her, saying that he's confused, that why would his older self be doing what he's doing? Maybe there has to be some sort of good reason why he'd be doing it, because he knows himself and what he's doing doesn't really go with what he normally does. So maybe he's thinking that maybe there is something to it, maybe there really is a good reason why he's doing it, maybe he's not really to blame for all this. So they can Scott and Mystique keep talking, and Mystique pretty much convinces him that Scott needs to talk to his older self, that he really needs to set things right, that only he can do it because he's Scott Summers, and anything that he's determined to do, he can do it because he has the ruthlessness and pretty much the resolve than anybody else. And she also goes to mention how she respects him, and that pretty much he should take control of things rather than be somebody affected by what's going on. He should take control, and pretty much saying that when you get back to the X-Men, pretty much take over the team because you're the real leader, you're the one that everybody looks up to. And then when you're done with all this, go back to the past, forget all this happened, and pretty much change everything. So also Mystique also mentions to Scott how possibly he didn't really actually kill Professor X on his own accord, how that there was possibly something else was controlling him which he couldn't deal with, and as well he killed Professor X. And for those of you who did read A versus X, I think it was actually the Phoenix that was controlling Scott at the time. So as Mystique leaves, she mentions that she has to go, that Wolverine's tracking him, and also that not to forget what she told him, that he has to take control of the situation now. So pretty much before she goes, Scott asks, "How do I find you again?" But Mystique says, "You don't need to find me, you need to find yourself." Then Wolverine arrives, and with a really funny line here, he just asks, "Did you try to rob a bank?" So then he gets into the car with Wolverine and starts talking. Wolverine's like, "Okay, maybe I haven't been the nicest guy to you. That yeah, I could have killed you, but I'm not going to because Charles Xavier wouldn't appreciate that." And pretty much from my own experience is that it's easy to kill somebody, but it's a lot harder to actually save them. So pretty much that was like a nice moment with Wolverine and Cyclops, but in the end he pretty much ends it off with, but if you ever steal my car again, I'll cut your hands off, which is really hilarious for me. So then Mystique, as she's walking, a car pulls up next to her, which she gets in. All of a sudden, somebody in the car asks her, "I thought you didn't care about the X-Men," which Mystique replies, "I don't, it's a Fisk." Then pretty much Mystique says that, reveals her true intentions, that she doesn't really care about the X-Men, that pretty much she's trying to, she's noticed all the discord amongst them, and pretty much she's going to add to it so that whatever she's planning, along with this unknown individual, that it'll go on ahead without the X-Men getting involved, which clearly shows that she doesn't really care about Scott, but she's actually trying to get into his head. But because she knows that he's been outcast from the X-Men, she's trying to use him for her own purposes, which is still a mystery so far, but definitely will play out in the future issues. So later we cut back to the school, the Jean Grey Academy. Kitty's pretty much taking over training for the original X-Men team, or the ones that are there. She's trying to train them, but Bobby, he's pretty much saying that he doesn't need training, pretty much causing trouble, blah blah blah. So Scott and Wolverine get back. Scott walks up to Jean and gives her a letter, the same letter that he found in the safe deposit box, and pretty much when she opens it, we find that it's an invitation to their wedding that the older Scott and Jean had. And then Scott walks away, and then Jean turns around and she starts crying, and that's where the issue ends. So yeah, this was a good issue for me. I really enjoyed it. At first I really thought that Mystique really cared about Scott for a minute there. I was really surprised at how she seemed so caring, but typical Mystique, she's clearly trying to use him for her own purposes, as we saw in this issue. And yeah, and who knows what that invitation is going to do between Scott and Jean, because pretty much last issue, the issue before, she pretty much cut him off, pretty much just blocked him out of her life, pretty much didn't want to have anything to do with him, which made Scott feel isolated. But now that Mystique's gone, pretty much working her way into Scott's life, how's that going to play out? What decisions Scott's going to be making in the future issues, which is going to be interesting to see. So yeah, this was a good issue. I give it a 7 as well. Nothing really special, to be honest, but it was a good issue and definitely enjoyable, and definitely suggest you pick it up. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Comment down below, tell me what you thought about this issue. Also don't forget to like and favorite this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This is Comic Wiz, reviewing all new X-Men issue 7, and thanks for watching, guys. See ya.